Feels so funky. All right, so this is Canada Dry, zero sugar, cranberry ginger ale. It's definitely the drink of the holidays. So I got a little bit left, tiny little bit. So just gonna drink out of the bottle. Do you remember as a kid, if you had a little bit of soda left to drink out of the bottle? It was the greatest, at least from my experience. I used to say, can I just finish that out of the bottle? And then I knew I was going to get a yes, because how are they going to say no to just a little bit? I mean, of course, most kids would probably spill it all over themselves while trying to guzzle the rest of the contents. But I was very careful with it because I knew this was like one of those momentous occasions. It was a real power move. So the feeling of drinking directly out of the 2-liter, but I would say drinking out of a 3-liter bottle, that is the shit right there. That would be the ultimate flex. That would be probably number one on the bucket list, if you're lucky enough to find a 3-liter bottle. Hey, it's Jay. Welcome to Sludge Central. Tonight I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to kick things off with some snack news, and then we'll get into some other holiday hijinks. But first, some snack news. I was reading about Doritos is opening a restaurant with Dorito flavored dishes. And that sounds amazing. Of course, it's in California, so the West Coast peeps gonna have to let me know what you think, how you feel about it. I would like, and I don't know what they have, I haven't seen the menu or anything, but I personally would like a spicy nacho fish taco. Boom, that's all I need. Just give me that. Spicy nacho fish taco. 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 So needless to say, I'm a little bit on the jealous side that we do not have a Doritos restaurant here on the East Coast. All right, but as you can see from my very cheaply made airbrushed Grinch shirt, this is one of those, it's like a print on demand. It's really terrible, but it's cool because of how terrible it is. But we're going to get Grinchy with it tonight here at Sludge Central. The Grinch is everywhere so far this holiday season. We've seen Krispy Kreme donuts, or at least they're coming out. I don't know if they're out already. And we've got a McDonald's tie-in with the Grinch as well. I'm not complaining. I am a big fan of the Grinch. Love to see more Grinch. So this is good stuff. I personally am not going to indulge in the Krispy Kremes because I think I'm reserving that only for Ghostbusters and just the really, really huge things. It's too indulgent and it's also too tempting. You can't be having a box of those in the kitchen without wanting to dive in. You know, I don't eat at McDonald's, so I'm not going to go for the McDonald's promotion. I do love that they're doing it, and I've seen a lot of pictures out on social media. It looks like a very cool promotion, so I'm happy that they did it, but they also just kind of do it out of nowhere. Give a little commercial, give us something, amp us up. Tease it a little bit. This next one is really strange. Crumble Cookies is doing a tie-in with Dove soap. So there's Dove soap and body wash and deodorants that smell like crumble cookies. Not really for me. And it's not a joke, by the way. It sounds like it's a joke, but it's not. I just love all this weird stuff. You ever have one of these bottles like open just a little bit and there's air squeaking out of it? Just before I was in the other room, I thought there was a cicada or something. And I'm like, nah, it's 20 degrees. There's no way. And I realized it's the bottle making this. So I just recently backed a Kickstarter for the DC Heroes role-playing game 40th anniversary. So that was directly in my wheelhouse when I was a kid. There were these books, Sourcebooks, and role-playing game guides for the DC Comics universe and all the characters involved. You got Batman and Superman, Wonder Woman, the whole Justice League, Teen Titans. They went deep. And I used to use these source books and maps and game books because they had all kinds of super detailed information for the DC Comics fans. So if you wanted ultimate info on the origin and statistics and lands and all kinds of amazing information. It's all there. So I didn't play the games like a role-playing game necessarily. We tried it a couple times as kids, but then we realized like that really wasn't what we needed them for. Like we needed the schematics to Wayne Manor and the Batcave and Gotham City and breakouts of what's in the utility belt and just everything you could possibly imagine. You've always wanted to know that stuff and to have it and say, this is the Bat Bible. It was always important to me to have one of those within arm's reach to consult with. I felt so informed and like official. There's been so many crazy events within the DC universe, but for me, it's unfathomable to even try to wrap my head around what's gone on in comics, not just the DC universe, but so much has changed that it's hard to know the actual definitive canon and to say, well, this is the modern canon versus what the old canon was. And that all could get very super geeky. So if you're not into it, it sounds dumb and boring. The point that I'm trying to make is that like things get too complicated, and I'd like to have a really dumbed down basic version of the timeline. Just for example, in DC Comics, back to the basics. That's what these source books did, at least for me. They made it real easy to understand how everything rolled out. They're dumbed down canon where a layman or lay person, a lay human, a layman could follow. For example, if you want to just follow a basic storyline, let's say the company picks out all the most extremely key basic things to do or to engage in or experience that creates a simple timeline. You don't need to go crazy, but you can experience it. Like, here's what we suggest you do to experience the essential DC Comics universe timeline. And then if you want to go deeper, the timelines are just in more explicit detail. So then like there's a deeper level and a more complicated level. So if you're just a basic casual beginner fan, here's where you start. I don't have the brain capacity to be able to dedicate. I'm good with the casual, basic, essential stuff that will never, just don't change. Don't say, oh, this character never existed in this timeline. Too confusing. Just make it super easy. It's easy to remember. Everybody knows how Batman became Batman because they pounded it into our head. Give me something easily accessible, easy to remember. I just think it could be a fun activity to engage in, especially since there's so much to consume, that it would really simplify. And then if you ever want to go deeper, you can go deeper. Plus, if you're a fan already and you want to relive this stuff, you're like, okay, well, what do? I forget what comes first. And then you go year by year or chronologically in canon, however you want to do it. Now watch, after the show, I'm going to Google that. And there's going to be a whole ass fan created database that contains exactly this for every company that has ever created a character. The chronological canon wiki. It was great to have the source book info. I still prefer those histories too. Not that I'm an old crotchety man or a Grinch, but now that we could log on to the internet, it's all right at our fingertips. Not a finger! So anyway, I backed it. I backed it because I support this stuff. It's something I have always wanted, but they were all pretty expensive on eBay, and I only had a few of them. I still have a lot of my originals. In fact, probably all my originals are all intact because I was very particular. I wanted to have them in good condition. Son of a bitch. So I did keep the source books. I don't know if I kept all the little game modules, the thinner ones, but the source books were so good. I love Star Wars too with the source books. Give me a good source book any day. I love that. So I backed it, got a few. You could have spent up to like $600 or $700, something like that. I did not spend anywhere near that, but I did just a little dabble, do you? Talking about some pickups, let's travel into another dimension. One of sight, sound, and of rhyme. Here it is, since I don't have a dog of my own. This is the My Pet Monster dog toy, who is an utter and complete joy. What I really like is that it's the design from the 87 cartoon as I make him bark at the moon.
Hey, yeah, bark at the moon.
His colors are very bright. His weight is very light. His ass makes this sort of crackly sound, which is sure to amuse your hound. Yeah, so I bought this My Pet Monster dog toy. I really love it. I loved My Pet Monster. I didn't have one. I was always hesitant to be asking for stuffed animals when I knew I wanted stuff like action figure play sets and the entire Superpowers collection, Masters of the Universe, you name it. Now on to some things I did not buy, but I've been meaning to bring this one up. Prime Party Official, I think is the name of the company, created a Ghostbusters cardboard containment unit. So it's like the ghost containment unit inside the firehouse down in the basement. So when I first saw this thing, it looked like it was real red steel and sex appeal. You know, when the light screen traps clean, baby. But yeah, this thing really captivated me because I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, that thing looks awesome. And I saw the price and it was very cheap. And I totally forgot. I either forgot or it just didn't register with me. It took some time to sink in. And finally, when I kept reading that title, it's in the title. It says cardboard, but it just didn't register with me because I was looking at the photo. And the photo makes it look like an actual containment system, like made out of the red steel. But yeah, so cheap. I'm like, do I really need this cardboard containment unit? And then I'm really thinking that through, giving it some time in the old noggin. And I came to the conclusion that I did not only because it's cardboard, but also because I just don't have any room. I am completely tapped out when it comes to room. I mean, did you buy it? If so, is it good? I mean, if someone wants to try to convince me why I need it, I am not opposed to buying it in literal milliseconds. If you convince me, if you say the right words, just say the words. Puma came out with Scooby-Doo Pumas, Scooby-Dooby Pumas. They're in the style of the Mystery Machine colors. And I wanted them like at first, and then I started really kind of drilling down on them and seeing, I don't know if I necessarily need those. So again, I tried to convince myself, tried to have willpower. I have so many pairs of sneakers. Obviously, I love the concept, but I held back. The style didn't grab me so much that I just needed to have them right away. I think if it was more traditionally Mystery Machine, potentially I might have been in. This one was more like abstract Metropolitan Museum of Art type of Mystery Machine, loosely inspired Mystery Machine. Now, if y'all excuse me, I want to slip into something more comfortable. Perhaps this Beetlejuice costume zip hoodie, which is already on clearance at Walmart, but officially licensed, I might add. I mean, I would never wear it in a million years, but the fact that we got shit like this, I think people just glossed over just how insane the Beetle Blitz was. This sequel garnered so many promotions. It just caused this big thing going on, and I know we all experienced it. I was definitely relishing in it. But I think overall, don't sleep on understanding the Beetle Blitz and how impactful it was. It was right up there with some of the best Stranger Things promotions. Do not underestimate the Beetle Blitz. Also, I noticed when I was in the store, still on shelves after all these years, the Snoopy Snow Cone machine. Man, this thing hit stores originally in 1979. I know I used to make snow cones with my sister out of this thing. So many good memories. I think a huge cross section of the country has owned a Snoopy Snow Cone machine or still owns it somewhere in their basement or their parents' or grandparents' house. Just a fun time and very iconic. This thing was everywhere. Everybody was making Snoopy snow cones. It was like all the rage. Some people were on a strictly Snoopy snow cone diet. And not too far away from that was a setup right in the middle of the aisle of fake food. They had fake food nacho kits and fake food ice cream kits. And I gotta say, this would have been one that I might have had to have splurged on. I didn't, but who in their right mind does not want a fake food nacho kit? That might be better than anything I talked about last week when I was talking about the Target catalog. This one item, I may have to go to the store. I may have to go. I'm thinking about it. I will let you know. I'm convincing myself now. You see what I'm doing? This is a bad influence, this show. You're a bad influence. You're the problem. This thing blew me the F away. I can't even begin to tell you how cool this is. So these tiny little figures called Doorables. I have the Nightmare Before Christmas set that glows in the dark, which is awesome. But I said, I will do no more. No more Doorables. That's it. I'm done with Doorables. And then I see they pay homage to the Darth Vader action figure carrying case from Kenner. That figural case of Darth Vader's bust. And they had one of C-3PO as well. Super iconic. I know I had Darth Vader as a kid and I kept it for so long until I stupidly sold a lot of my Star Wars stuff. Oh, man. But this really holds those little Doorables, but amazing work. Just slyly throwing that out there. I mean, I walked by, I'm like, I did one of those double takes. Meryl Streep did. Oh my gosh, this next one threw me for a loop. It is a Grinch costume, but not just your average Grinch costume. I'm walking through Walmart, and there's this big cardboard container, and it looks like there are like a bunch of rugs, but it's these Grinch costumes with this giant head. So it's actually like a Grinch head. And this is the closest you're going to get to a cheap home version of if the Grinch was in a Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. By the way, cheap plug, Purple Stuff Podcast, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade episode from 1984, available now. This thing is so cool. Another thing, I'm not going to buy it, but if I had loads of cash coming out my ass, I would have bought it already. I would have already been all over this. But you'll notice it says Grinch costume disfraz. Let me check with my producer. What does disfraz mean?
That's a strange word. I never heard it before.
Yeah, I know. It's a strange word. What does it mean?
Let me look it up.
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
Disfraz, D-I-S-F-R-A-Z.
It's a Spanish word meaning disguise or costume.
Disguise. Yeah, Okay, gotcha. Yeah, thanks. Okay, that's what I figured. A disfraz. Now, I never knew that. I did take 2 years of Spanish, never heard of disfraz. I don't remember that one. But now I know that I do wear a lot of disfrazes. But look at this guy. How incredible would it be if people started dressing in this disfraz and popping in on their family gatherings during the holidays instead of dressing as Santa Claus? You would scare these kids half to death. The Grinch comes creeping in and they're like these little 2-year-old kids. They would be screaming bloody murder. But I would love to see the Grinch if I was that kid. I would be so excited that is the closest thing I will get to a live action encounter with the Grinch, the actual Grinch. So yes, that is a great moment. You'll never forget that moment as long as you live. In fact, I wish I could implant a Total Recall memory of having an encounter with someone like the Grinch. It doesn't have to be the Grinch, but yes, a mythical icon of your youth. But I'm noticing so many random new generic blow molds, and I am abso-freaking-lutely loving this. There's a North Pole Christmas tree that looks like it's from Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but on the North Pole. We've got these gingerbread Christmas houses, elves, Mrs. Claus, Santa Claus, candles. We've got dogs, we've got penguins, we've got owls. But the best one, hands down, is this skiing reindeer who looks like he just ripped ass. He literally looks like he just crop dusted the entire ski resort. Prove me wrong. We've got Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas rocking the Santa hat. Lots of Grinches. But getting these green guys ganged up for a photo op was priceless. Oh man, look at all those Grinch blow molds. But they're based off that movie from 2018, and that was something that I just bypassed. I never even watched it. And if enough people tell me this thing is so good, I will give it a shot 100%. I am a big fan of the original Grinch. The original Grinch is the best to me. I just never thought any of it could stand up to the original, especially the book. I grew up reading the book, watching the Boris Karloff animated version. And then I saw that there was a sequel book to the Grinch. I never even realized that. How the Grinch lost Christmas. I didn't even know that existed. The original was basically Christmas horror for me as a kid. It was the closest I could get to it. Plus it had Boris, and Boris was a bonus. Everything's better with Boris. Have you read the Grinch sequel? If you have, let me know. Also, the 2018 movie, I need to hear some feedback on that. Hit me up, Blue Sky, Instagram, wherever. And if I had to choose to watch an alternate Grinch take, I would watch the Jim Carrey movie. That was a good one. On to some other viewing stuff. Sticking to that DC Comics theme, I was also watching the animated film of Watchmen, which I think so far is way superior to the live action movie. This is the version that I know I always wanted. This was recommended to me by one of my friends, and oh my gosh, I didn't even know it existed. Where am I? How did this pass me by? I must be slipping in my old age. And now to lead us out,
the fabulous farting skiing reindeer.
It's been a fun time. Thank you so much for hanging out here with me at Sludge Central. I am Jay, signing off.